Hey friends, Donovan here with Fretspot.com. Got a beautiful bass to show you today. This one's sold as well and getting ready to ship it off to its new owner, but I wanted to share it with you first so that you could see it and maybe pique your interest in you getting one for yourself. Yes. Anyway, so what we have is a Fodera, and we have the Imperial model. It's a 5-string, and look at that top. Blow! Got this beautiful flamed Koa top, matching pickup covers, dual coil pickups, ebony ramp. Let's see, the back, we've got a nice little recipe going here. We've got ash wings and an alder tone block and a maple neck. Now, let's talk about Koa just for a minute. And you'll get to hear this. And I've had a similar bass in Koa. Some of you may remember seeing that. But what is Koa? So Koa is a species of wood only grown in Hawaii. And tonally, it's very similar to mahogany. Now, we don't often think of mahogany for basses. And but we do see it on, like, it's very popular wood, like, you know, for Les Pauls, we see it there. We see it on some acoustics. Mahogany is known as a very warm, lower mid-range accentuated tone wood. And so if you think of ash, ash tends to be known as kind of an upper mid-range attenuate, like emphasized tone wood. So over on the upper end, we get, you know, little bumps there, which we tend to like for ash. Alder, it tends to be almost darker than even mahogany. It tends to be kind of flat, and then mahogany is sort of flat, and then, you know, right in that kind of lower end of the mid-range, you get a little bump, which is kind of nice. And then if you look at something like maple, for example, on the other extreme, maple is going to be very bright. So that's sort of where it kind of lays in the spectrum. So what I find, though, when I'm playing these Koa top basses, is I find if I'm doing slapping and stuff like that, I actually end up adding more treble than I normally do. Now, when I dial in a slap sound, I don't usually like to go nuts with the way some guys do, where they'll take the treble and just like crank it. I don't know. To me, it's just almost too bright. So usually I'll just emphasize a little bit of treble. I also don't usually cut the mids as much as some people. I mean, some people, when they do it, they do like almost like smiley face type EQ, where they max out the bass and treble and totally cut the mids. And I don't usually do that. I like leaving a little bit of mids in there because I think it adds a little burpiness to it that I like when I slap. Usually I only add, you know, maybe 70% on treble, and on bass I'm usually in the 70 or 80% range, something like that. For Koa, however, I'm probably going to go ahead and add a little more treble than I normally would, and I might end up cutting slightly more mids than I normally would as well. So don't be afraid with the Koa bass to use the preamp. If you use the preamp, you get a very, very versatile sounding bass that's also just ridiculously striking to look at. But if you don't use the preamp and you do slapping, then you may feel like the bass is too dark or dull, okay? And it isn't. You just got to be willing to use the controls. So I love the way they sound, and they have a warmth to it that's just unbeatable. So anyway, I'm going to stop talking. I can hear you cheering already, okay? And but unfortunate for you, that means I'm going to start playing. Now the joke's on you. So, and I'm going to do something kind of interesting. I'm going to play a riff that I've already played that, frankly, I just kind of like it, so I'm going to play it. And then I'll solo over it, do some stuff like I normally do. Sorry, poorly, like normal. But I also have a Koa-topped F-bass BN5, which is for sale. And I'll do the same thing on it, and that will allow you to kind of hear two different basses playing the same riff and the same setup, everything else. So it should be kind of neat, okay? So let's give it a listen.